Hello everyone, I invite you to every Monday's cryptocurrency review. Let's start by checking the current situation on the BTC pair to USDT, taking into account the 4-hour interval. First, we will use the yellow lines to mark the local triangle in which the price is currently moving. Now we can move on to marking the places of support in the event of a correction. And here, in the first place, it is worth marking a very strong support zone from $28,038 to $27,560 in which the price is currently located, but when we fall below this zone, we can see a drop around $26,882 and even $26,022. Looking the other way, in a similar way, using the trend-based fib extension tool, we can determine the places of resistance. First, we will mark the resistance zone from $28,659 to $29,195. When it manages to break it, the price will have to break through the resistance at $29,711. And then the third resistance at $30,466. Only when it breaks out above and then positively tests it, we will be able to see further increases. It is worth paying attention to the EMA cross 10 and 30, where we see confirmation of the transition to a downtrend. You should watch the red line when it starts to curve upwards, which can give a trend reversal. Please pay attention to the CHOP index, which on the 4-hour interval indicates that the energy has been used and begins to rebound. The MACD indicator indicates the maintenance of the local downtrend. While the RSI has touched the lower limit of the range, which may give a break in the correction. At this point, it is worth looking at the indicators on the 1-day interval. And here CHOP indicates that we have a lot of energy gathered. MACD entered a downtrend, while RSI went to the lower part of the range, but there is still room for a correction to pull the BTC price down. As the second chart in today's review, we'll check ETH against USDT, also on a 4-hour timeframe. As in the case of BTC, we will use yellow lines to mark a local triangle in which the price is moving at the lower limit. Now let's move on to marking the places of support. We will use the trend-based fib extension tool to mark the supports, and as you can see, we have the first support at the price of $1,841, the second strong support at 0.618 fib, at the price of $1,800, the third at the price of $1,739. Looking the other way, we can also mark the places where the price should encounter resistance on the way to increases. And here, in the first place, it is worth marking a strong resistance zone from $1,891 to $1,924. When the price breaks it, the next resistance is at $1,952, then the third resistance at $1,981, and the fourth resistance at $2,020. When we turn on the EMA cross 10 and 30, we can see that they indicate a strong transition into a local downtrend. The CHOP index indicates that the energy on the short time interval is highly charged. The MACD indicator remains in a local downtrend. On the other hand, on the RSI we see a rebound in the lower part of the range. This may indicate the approaching end of the rebound, but at this point we see that there is still some room for the price to go lower. Next, we will check the MKR chart, but here we will switch to a one-day time frame. As we can see, the price is constantly bouncing off the downtrend line, but it is worth noting that these bounces are getting smaller. Let's start by marking the support spots for the price, and we see that the first support that the price is currently based on is $683 and is located at the golden fib point of 0.618. However, if the price goes lower, we have the next support at $604, then the third support at the last low of $500. Looking the other way, we can similarly determine the places of resistance that the price has to face. And here we see that the first significant resistance is at $742. We continue to have strong resistance at $789. Once the price breaks it, it will move towards the resistance at $834 and further to the resistance at $897. When we turn on the volume indicators, we can immediately see that it has been very low for a long time. The CHOP index indicates that we have a lot of energy for the upcoming move. The MACD is fighting on the verge of returning to the uptrend. While the RSI is moving in the lower part of the range, but we have room for the price to go lower, which could pull the price towards the $604 support. The last one in today's chart is the chart of SOL in pair to USDT on a one-day interval. First, we will mark the triangle with the yellow lines, which, as you can see, the price has left the bottom. Moving on, we can move on to marking support areas when we start a larger correction. And here, the first support at which the price is currently located is $21. The second support is at $19.83. The third support is at $18.12, and then we have the fourth support at $15.94. Looking the other way, we see price need to break resistance at $21.59, second resistance is at $22.82, third strong resistance at $24.75 and the location of the upper border of the triangle, then fourth resistance at $27.15, which is the site of the last peak. Please look at the CHOP index, which indicates that we have a lot of energy for the upcoming move. MACD indicates that we are in a downtrend. While the RSI shows a rebound, but there is still room for the price to go lower. Technical analysis is provided by a third party, and for informational purposes only. It does not reflect the views of CryptoDaily, nor is it intended to be used as legal, tax, investment, or financial advice.